Good morning, everyone. Am I audible clearly? Okay, so today we are going to talk about another set of questions as we had a word. Today's class is not only going to be regarding Module C, but many questions are from Module D as well. So please prepare accordingly and let me know how's your preparation going on. Handful days are left, and that simply means we have to prepare properly and give our best shot. Acha, if you like these sessions, then please go ahead and share it among your peers. Number one, along with this, don't forget to like the session, and along with that, don't forget to subscribe the channel as well. If you haven't subscribed it yet, this is the perfect time. Just subscribe it, as the CIIB activity is right now at its peak, you know. So along with all of these things, there are certain things that I would like to let you know, that for the examination, we are covering from both the points. That is, I'm covering my classes from both the points. That is, from the practical point of view as well as the theoretical point of view. In our book, we have got two modules, right, which are completely theory, and two modules which are completely practical. So, considering the ones which are completely theory and which are completely practical, let's talk about it in detail and start with the session. Okay, everyone, here comes the first question. Why do companies prefer issuing hybrid securities? Acha, do you know what are exactly hybrid securities? See, hybrid securities are those securities which got. Okay, when we talk about hybrid securities, these are those securities which are considered in terms of uh, debt plus equity. Basically, equity and debt are two extremists. When we talk about debt, debt is something which exists because of what? Debt exists because we don't want to risk it. So, what we do is we take loans from others. है ना? And when we talk about equity, equity is our own money that we are using. So one is the loan and one is what we are putting in our own work. So when we have these 2 points, that is debt and equity, they said, is there anything else than these two pure things? Are there any mixed breed of it or not? Because we would want to have the benefits of debt. That means certainty of getting the money back, um, certainty of getting the interest every single year, no matter whether the company is in losses or in profits. Those things are there only in debt. That these things are not in equity. But why do companies prefer issuing hybrid securities? The point is, when we have this debt and equity, these are two extremists. These people are to be given money in any case, and these people are something whereas there is no compulsion at all. You give them money or you're not, or not, that is something that you will choose. है ना? Now, when we talk about debt versus equity, now when we are talking about debt versus equity, they introduced a few things in between, which were a blend of both of these. These organizations, these new these new securities came to be known as hybrid securities. What do we have in these hybrid securities, everyone? First is strict regulatory requirements. Second is limited flexibility. Third is to optimize debt to equity ratio or faster maturity terms. What is it that is there? Correct, Sabiha ma'am. Debt to equity ratio to optimize. Basically, debt equity ratio is optimized when the blend is perfect. है ना? So in this case, the correct answer is the C point only. Hybrid securities allows the companies to optimize the proportion of debt equity in the overall capital structure. That means the debt that a company is taking and the equity, or both, are to be covered in a very sorted and respectful manner in this era. Why? Because when we are considering both these areas, we are going to optimize the debt. Matlab, the debt is something which is the borrowing which we are taking from outsiders, which is a liability. Equity is the money invested by the equity shareholder, that is the owner of the company, who has the ownership right over the things. So, in both the cases, when combined together, if we take too much of debt, there is one problem. Too much of debt means the organization is burdened because they have to pay some fixed operating expenses. Now, when we say they have too much of equity, that means the company is totally on its own. That is bootstrapping. That means the company has only got its own working, their own money. Now, this has only one problem. Sometimes it becomes very tiring as well. This happens because sometimes equity shareholding also has a limit now. If I give too much of equity to other people now, then what will happen? The company will lose a lot. What are the company losing? The company is losing its voting rights, the control over their securities. That control over the securities is way more costly than the borrowings, because the borrowings once paid off, the thing is so definitely yours. But once you share your decision making power, there is no way going back. That's the basic problem there. Okay? Now comes the next question. What is a convertible debenture? Very good, Imran sir. What do you mean by a convertible debenture, everyone? Everybody who's there in the class, please go ahead and share the session and like it as well. What do you mean by convertible debentures? Fixed claim on cash flow, or debt that reflects managerial control, or converted into equity or denominated in a foreign currency. When we talk about convertible debentures, yes, these are those debentures which can be converted into equity. Matlab, who was earlier a borrower, the person who was earlier a borrower, sorry, we are the borrowers, the one who was a lender, now he's getting ownership rights over the company, right? That is what they call as convertible debentures. Okay? A convertible debenture can be converted into equity shares either in whole or in part. That means you can convert it entirely, or only a part of it can be converted, and rest, what would we do with the rest, everyone? Aman sir, Sabiha ma'am, what would do with the rest amount? If we decide that half of it are we are paying, half of it is basically paid in form of equity shareholding. What about the remaining part? How are we going to pay the remaining part then? Hello, ma'am. Everybody? If we have paid half of it in terms of shares, the half of it will go into equity. That is, sorry, if half of it is going into shares, and the second part is going in cash, because we cannot stay unpaid to these people. That means if the debentures are worth rupees 10 lakhs, okay, and they are paid up to 6 lakhs for we have given shares to them, then the remaining 4 lakh will be paid to them in the form of cash. The payments have to be made, but it is at the discretion of the particular person himself. That means it is at my discretion whether I would like to buy the shares of the company, would like to get the shares of the company instead of cash, or I would want cash. Now that is at the discretion of the debenture holder, not at the discretion of the company, everyone. Okay. Next question. What is the FCCB? Foreign currency convertible bond, denominated in local currency, then convertible into debt or denominated in a foreign currency or issued only in India. Foreign currency convertible bonds. Everyone, what are foreign currency convertible bonds? Convertible into debt denominated in a foreign currency. denominated in local. Saniharka. Aman sir, correct. The answer is denominated in a foreign currency. Foreign currency convertible bonds. The bonds, these are actually, the bonds are actually a form of debt only, sir. When we talk about bonds, na, bonds are a form of debt that we have taken from the people and we are supposed to pay it back after a certain period of time. The terms and terminologies of that particular debt will definitely be decided overall. That is not something which is on our hands, but yes, that is a part of it. It would be something which would be denominated in a foreign currency. So FCCB is a subtype. It is not the main type of the convertible debentures. These are convertible debentures denominated in a different currency. Okay? Very thin lines of differences are there. I think this is where the ABFM examination people are also playing with us. When we talk about the IIBF examination, na, people tell ki, ma'am, the paper was somewhat trickier in terms of one thing. It was trickier in terms of the area of the language. I think in the JIB, I heard the same thing. I'm also working upon the area of AFM there. So there we heard the same thing in the JIB this year as well. So this is what we need to be very clear. The last time ABFM examination was on the easier side. There were not many numericals or formula based questions, but you already know that in terms of the entire examination, there are many models and numericals and philosophical things which you have to learn by heart. Otherwise, you will face a lot of problem in the examination. So you have to be very open towards all these things and be very, I would say, very flexible while studying as to say at the same as well, because you will have to put an extra effort to understand the theoretical part of the practical portion. That means the numericals converted into theory questions. Those things can also be there. Acha, next question, everyone. Reasoning and assertion based question is there. Hybrid financing provides greater flexibility compared to traditional forms of debt. Hybrid securities allows the companies to postpone the payment of the debt service. Both assertion and reasoning are true, and reasoning is correct. Both assertion and reasoning are true, but reasoning is not correct. Assertion is true, but reasoning is false, or both assertion and reasoning are false. What happens in terms of debt and equity in terms of hybrid, everyone? The first point says assertion is basically hybrid financing provides greater flexibility compared to traditional forms of debt. It is true, it provides greater flexibility, but that is not because this hybrid securities allows the companies to postpone the payment of debt. That is not the case. The terms and terminologies of these hybrid finances are little different, that the contractual things are little different. So I would say the assertion is true, but the reason does not really go with the particular point. It is not the correct explanation of assertion. So there are many hybrid securities in which you have a particular delay time. For example, the one which can be converted, or the ones in which we can say that there are options with the companies as well as with the people out there. So both of these things exist. So both assertion and reasoning are true, but the reason is not correct explanation of assertion. Then comes the next question, everyone. The hybrid financing provides greater flexibility compared to traditional forms of debt. Hybrid securities, अच्छा नहीं ये तो कर लिया. Now the next question is, foreign currency convertible bonds have witnessed a decline in proportion compared to rupee denominated bonds, and that is RDB are the bonds which are available in Indian currency. That is why rupee denominated bonds. FCCB are less popular due to stringent regulatory requirements. Both are true, and reasoning is correct explanation. And the second one is both assertion and reasoning are true, but the reason is not correct, or the assertion is true, but reason is false. Rupee denominated bonds, they have gained a lot of importance because even the income tax department has given a few reliefs on it. So I can say this part is true. It has seen a decline. But is it because of the stringent regulatory requirements, or that is because RDB has given tax-free benefits to the people? Along with this, if we are dealing in rupee, we are more stable as compared to we playing with US dollars, because US dollars is right now fluctuating very badly. So for any organization, it will not be a very good decision to go through this, right? Done, everyone? What would be the answer in this case? FCCB has witnessed a decline. That is true, but the second part is false. That is not because of the stringent activities only. Over the period of time, dollar has definitely gone through a lot of ups and downs lately. So the answer is reasoning is true. Assertion is true, but the reasoning is false. The decline is not attributed to stringent regulatory requirements. It is because of the demand pattern as well, na? The economy situations as well. There are multiple reasons that is not because of stringent requirements. If they would be getting good money, then they would never have a problem. If you're already putting good money, then you don't have a problem in putting more, isn't it? Chaliye. Now let's move on to the next point. What is the key advantage of hybrid securities? I didn't give you the case study there. What is the key advantage of hybrid, everyone? Lower yield compared to the debt, higher yield compared to the debt, and volatile market price, or strict definition of equity and debt. When we talk about hybrid securities, the answer would be the yield is definitely more different. But in terms of debt, the risk was different and the amount was different. So when we talk about this area, na, regarding hybrid and all, what happens is they turn out to be little more better. Their yield is definitely more than debt because they are part of equity and they are part of equity and part of the debt. So basically, they are having the returns of equity and the risklessness of the debt. So that makes it somewhat more safe than the other one, that is the debt or the equity. Acha, everyone, next question. What is the disadvantage uh, regarding hybrid securities? Easy assessment of return, risk diversification, complicated calculation of return, or strict definition of equity and debt. When we talk about the disadvantage regarding hybrid securities, it is basically the biggest problem is complicated calculation of return. The point is they divide their risks and their returns into multiple areas. They put it into those multiple areas. Then what happens is just because there are different areas, so it becomes very difficult to identify any item in it. Done. So in this case, it is the complicated rate of return. Okay, the answer is complicated rate of calculation of return. Now this is what it is about. The bond securities and all, it becomes difficult. What is the priority claim of preference shareholders on the company's income and assets, everyone. Lower priority than equity, no priority claim, higher priority than equity, or same priority as bondholders. Bondholders definitely have an upper end, everyone. Basically, the bondholders are the debt people. Debt will say that even if the company has to be killed, kill the company, but get our money back. They are sorted to that extent. So, debt is not the point here. What happens is whenever we have to pay to the equity, it happens after debt. You have the preference shareholders and then you have equity. The people who are paid by the end. So, what is the priority claim? Lower priority than equity. Preference shares is something which I would say it has a higher priority claim than equity. The reason is when the company, its name itself is saying that it talks about the priorities only. That preference has to be given to them. And how the preference is given to them, everyone? When we talk about the preference shareholder, how do we calculate it? In terms of the preference shareholder, you will find two things. These people are paid dividend before they make the payment to equity. And these people liquidate at the time of liquidation, even since they were there on the regular basis as well, where they raise their problems, कि अच्छा my dividend is not paid yet. That is the same point where these people have the right, even when the company is liquidating. Before equity, they have to be paid. So they have preference over equity, but less preference is given to them in terms of debt because debt is the internal money. Now. Done, everyone? Now comes the next point. Hybrid securities offer risk diversification for issuers. Hybrid securities do not strictly fall into the category of either equity or debt securities. They offer risk diversification in any case. What they do is they are not. There's a line of Warren Buffett. He says, "Never put all the eggs in one basket." Think about it, everyone. If I put the entire set of money in one particular area, and what if that particular market fails? Then what will happen? My entire money is gone, which is not good for me. So what will I do? Just to make sure that my money is not completely gone, I will spread up the money into different areas. Done? In this case, when we talk about hybrid securities, they actually offer more diversification because when people are not able to fit themselves into whether they want to invest in equity or they want to invest in debt, they go for hybrid. And hybrid is something which will never fall into any of these. That is why it is called hybrid. Otherwise, it would have been in either of the two categories. The answer is A. What is the key advantage of preference shareholders in the event of company's liquidation? Legal claim to receive the dividend, ability to push the company into bankruptcy, or receives everything before equity shareholders, or no claim in the liquidation process. What is the key advantage of the preference shareholders, everyone? Let's talk about it in detail now. What is the key advantage of preference shareholders in the event of liquidation? They have a legal claim to receive the dividend, ability to push the company into bankruptcy. Here, the ability to push the company into bankruptcy is not with them basically. It is with the lenders, the one who have lended us even 500 rupees now. They can create such a big chaos. Chaos is something which we can define as a disturbance. Okay? So in this case, what would be the answer? There's one specific thing that we are clear about. Receives everything before equity or no claim in liquidation process. There is only one specific rule, everyone. It does not, it receives everything before equity. That's why it got it name as preference. The shareholders which are given preference over others are called preference shareholders. So in this case, the correct answer is receives everything before equity shareholder. Done? Chaliye. Now let's move on to the next question. What gives the preference shareholders in an edge in the restructuring of financially struggling companies? When the companies are struggling a lot, then what is it that the preference shareholders do for the company, everyone? Legal claim to push for the bankruptcy, prior claim in liquidation, no involvement in restructuring, or strict regulation by credit rating agencies. When we talk about the preference shareholders, as I told you, first of all, income tax department comes up or the ROC comes up. First of all, they take their fees and as well as the pendencies of amount from the particular organization. Then everyone, in this case, they are getting a particular prior claim in liquidation. They are getting money before equity. That is one of the particular thing. Even when the company is struggling badly now, the company's restructuring process is going on. At the time of restructuring process, even this is very limited there. They have a prior claim in liquidation. Okay? Done everyone? Next point. What is the purpose of Atal Innovation Mission with self-employment and talent utilization? SETU program, everyone. Self-employment and talent acquisition. That is patent registration support or accelerating the development of startup companies, or then is environmental law enforcement or capital gain tax exemptions. What do you mean by capital gain tax? Capital gain tax is applied on you when you are selling an asset. Okay? Whenever you are selling an asset, then you have capital gain tax applied on it. What would be the answer in this case? In terms of Setu program, it was basically taken up to accelerate the development of startup companies. Okay, this is self-employment. This was accepted for the startup companies. This was a platform which was given to the for the promotion of the startup companies in self-employment endeavors in technologically advanced fields. They in the startup area they had been actually working on the technical companies which are generating good money for the organization as well as the country, right? And ultimately every startup which becomes finance or is increasing at a good rate, then these organizations tend to give more jobs to other people as well. What is the benefit of the what benefit does the action plan offer in terms of patent registration? 50% rebate, no cost support, or 80% fee discount, or faster exit regulations. And everyone, in this case, the correct answer is 80%. 80% fee discount is given. The action plan offers a fee discount of 80% in the patent registration. These kind of questions can be asked in the examination. These are very minute questions. Very good, Aman sir. ऐसे तो पता है in terms of the working now they have also made sure that there are faster exits as well. This is also something which the startups have allowed, that any organization which does not work properly or is not able to reach where it wanted to even after giving a good number of years, then they can actually help with the fast track batches as well. The fast track in terms of their codes and all, na, just like that, they have started opening up all these things. What is the role of business incubator in supporting startups? Incubator is basically a specific place where the organization has been working in isolation towards the entire working. Incubators are basically which are providing the banks facility, advertisement facility, XYZ in this specific area. So when they have these organizations, then that is these organizations and incubators are responsible for helping the budding startups, the one which is still developing. What would be the answer? These people in the incubators are conducting business inspections. They are issuing the patents. They are accelerating the development and providing support and exemption startups from labor regulations. When we talk about the startups, there's only one answer. That is, it accelerates the development and support. Okay, there are two things, everyone: incubator and incubatee. The organization which is helping the others, they are called incubator, and the one which is getting that particular thing is incubatee. Okay, so the startup is an incubatee which is working in this area just because of a particular organization. Done, everyone? So the correct answer in this case was C. Now let's move on to the next question. The 3 to 5 year exclusion from the business inspection for startups promotes a favorable environment for their growth. It allows startups to focus on their development without any burden, of the frequent inspections. Everyone, what would be the answer in this case? When we talk about 3 to 5 year exclusion of business inspections, see, if you put a lot of time on business inspections, na, then it is very, very difficult. The problem with the business inspections is that you will have to put everything in halt. Because if everything is still working, you cannot find the realities of that particular area. So 3 to 5 year exclusion is definitely there. There is a relaxation given to them. So in this case, what would be the answer? In this case, I would say both are true. When you are not under any stress of governance and the inspections and audits, then you turn out to be a little better. So the answer is both assertion and reasoning are true, and reasoning is the correct explanation of the assertion as well. Done, everyone? Let's talk about the next chapter. According to the initial definition, when is an entity considered to be a startup in India? Up to 10 years from the date of registration, then up to 3 or up to 5 or up to 15. What are the number of years given there, everyone? According to the initial definition, there were initial definitions and then there was a final one as well. So in the initial definition, what is entity considered? Which entity is considered as the startup in 5 years? Startups in India. So is it 10 years, 5 years, 3 years, or 15? Initial definition. So the final definition is given 10 years. So you are right, the final definition has given 10 years, but the initial had given 5. Yes. The final definition had even I was looking at it. What is the difference between the two? And when you read properly, na, then you realize that yes, these two definitions were given on this basis only. Look at this explanation. According to the initial definition, the entity considered a startup to 5 years from the date of its incorporation. Now, everybody, how many particular after how long the particular startup can still be considered as a startup, because startups have got a lot of schemes, incentives, and all. Till the time you are a startup, it is beneficial for you. Up to what year? Up to 5 years was earlier. Now it up to 10 year, whatever you are making is a part of it. Next point, according to the given information, which of the following criteria defines a startup in India? Turnover 50 crore, then up to 10 years from the date of IOC or registration, or working towards innovation or scalable business with employment generation potential, or of the what would be the answer, everyone? According to which particular criteria startups are there? The startups are all those organizations where you will find all of these things. It should not be having more than 10 years, and at the same time, these should be engrossed in the business of innovation and scalable business, which brings up more and more jobs in the organization as well as in the world. Here we are considering it in the country itself. In our country, it should make more and more employment generation. That is why startups are being helped a lot by the government itself, because it generates employment as well as GDP for the country. Right? Okay. Next question, everyone. Oh, this was actually a case study. So let me just see. Chaliye. Now let's look at the next question. Why is it important for a state to have startup policy, everyone? To impose regulations on startups, to discourage the growth of startups, to provide crucial support to the startups, or limit the number of startups. Startups are required by every organization. These are crazy people with good level of innovation, as well as they have deep interest in developing a business there. In this case, they provide crucial support. When we talk about incubator, incubatee, then incubatees are getting support and shelter from the organization itself. Now that there are certain directors and all, they are saying that if anything happens to the startup, we are there. That guidance, all those things are there in terms of venturers as well as angel capital. So angel funds as well. So all these things are there, right? And everyone, now let's look at the next question. Failure to plan appropriately is listed as one of the main challenges faced by the startups. Planning is crucial for the success and sustainability of the startup, and inadequate planning can lead to failure. That is true even. But there are many organizations which just started randomly, and when they started growing, their growth was not focused, and that also led to disfulfillment. Now, if you keep your focus there, then your startup will grow further and further only. So the failure to plan appropriately can be a very big problem, right? That can lead to the failure. Is both are true and reasoning is also correct, or both assertion and reasoning are true but reason is not correct, or assertion is true but the reasoning is false, or both assertion and reasoning are false? What's the answer, everyone? The correct answer is both are true. Okay? In this case, both are true. The assertion and reasoning provides a valid explanation. The failures can definitely be very costly to the startups as well as to the government, even because ultimately the government has been helping them. Such a little more questions as well. What is the primary focus of the pitch deck? No need to specify the passage that this is given in our book itself. What do you mean by pitch deck? Financial support for the startups, or incubation services, or presentation building platform for startups, or competitive environment analysis? But if I developed a plan, yeah, so this is how we are working. यस सर, ऐसा तो 100 crores है, बट देन इसके ना कुछ कुछ और आगे हैं कंडीशंस, टर्नओवर, कैपिटल, everything has a different point. Now, what is the primary focus of pitch deck, everyone? Pitch deck, see, if I said that I have a particular focus, I want to grow my business in certain way, then pitch deck is what? This is financial support to the startups, or incubation services, or presentation platforms. In this case, the correct answer is presentation building platform. Pitch deck is basically a method through which you can make people understand your platform so that they can invest your organization. Done? Next question is again regarding pitch deck. Pitch deck platform is designed to help startups build their first pitch deck with minimum design efforts. Clear and concise pitch presentations are essential for attracting investors, and pitch deck focuses on aiding users in building effective presentations. Both are true or both are false, or both assertion and reasoning are true. Reasoning is the correct explanation, or assertion and reasoning are true but not the correct explanation. What would be the answer in this case? Pitch deck really helps it. So I would say both are correct. Everybody, the time is ticking away. So I hope you had been preparing well for the examination, right? So this is where I end my session. But before I end my session, I hope you have reviewed our courses yet as well. As you already know, our revision batches are going on. Even the elective papers are still there. So this is not the end. We are still working upon the entire portion of our examination. But before we proceed further, let me show you our website. Go on to the area of www.adda247.com. This is where you will find all the details of our courses, and you should hurry up because the point is every single day which is going by, the CIIB examination is getting tougher and tougher. They're changing the patterns, they're changing the books altogether. New subjects are being introduced. All these things are definitely something which we should be open to. You know? So we should finish it off as early as possible. So there it is, everyone. Go on to our website, that is www.adda247.com. Go on to the area of JIB and CIB. Go on to the area of specific CIB November 2023. You will find our CIB Parpack revision combo for English medium as well as bilingual. Both are available. Okay? So this is our revision pack combo. So kindly review it on our portal or in our classes there. So check it out as early as possible because the time is ticking away. This one is English medium, everyone, and this one is also English medium, right? So check it out, and if you want to buy it, click on the area of buy now. Click on the area of buy now and use the code Y541 As soon as you use the code Y541, you will get 78% discount if you are using our app. And if you want to buy any other combination, if you want to buy any specific classes or something, you can use the code Y541 to get the maximum discounts. So check it out on our website and our app for further details. We'll be meeting tomorrow for our marathon. So thank you so much, everyone.